Hello and welcome to another Stamp with Amy K YouTube live video. And I'm just out here double checking that everything looks good and that I'm live out where I should be, which hopefully I am. Yep, looks like everything is good. So just going to pull up the video so that I can see comments and things when you hop in and say hello. So I appreciate you being here. If you are joining live, I appreciate it. And if you are watching the replay, that is awesome too. So I appreciate it no matter when you stop by to check out the video. So today I'm going to use the stamp set called Press On from the upcoming August to December 2020 mini catalog. And this stamp set will actually be available for purchase beginning on August 4th, which is next week, Tuesday. So hey, Rosie, glad that you're here today. So this is going to be available for purchase starting next week, Tuesday. And it's a really cute set. So if you have anybody who's a coffee lover in your family, yourself, whatever, which most of us do know somebody. I actually am a tea lover, but, you know, I know plenty of people who do coffee and don't understand the tea thing at all. So, hey, Pam and Danette, I appreciate you being here. Hopefully you are doing well on this fantastic Friday. So I'm just talking a little bit about the stamp set. So this is a stamp set. It is a red rubber stamp set. And again, it's just a really cute set of sentiments, some good images in it, obviously coffee related. So I paired it today with some of the Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper, and this is a 6x6 pack of paper that is also in the upcoming mini catalog. And again, it'll be available starting on August 4th to be able to purchase it. So again, this is the card we're going to be making today. I did change up just to give you a little different look at what another pack of designer paper would look like, or another piece of designer paper from that pack is what I'm trying to say. For the background, I just picked another random plaid, one of the more fall looking ones. So we're going to use that for our card today. So, all right, let me set this aside. So again, here's the stamp set. The other thing that I did use on this is one of the dies here which is the second one of these kind of narrower rectangle dies. I used that one to cut out the sentiment on here. And this is the Stitched Rectangles dies, and they are available currently in the annual catalog. Hey, Mary, I'm glad you're here as well from Ontario, Canada. So hopefully you're having a nice day. And I don't know if you're still freezing up there or if it's roasting, but I know I have some friends that live in Canada that have been complaining that they still haven't had summer yet. So, oh, hold on, dog. All right. You're roasting. Oh, Lord. Let me see if I can get the dog to quit barking. Oh, goodness. All right. Sorry about that. Hopefully that'll at least mute the sound a little bit. The dog is going a little crazy. I was expecting a package to be delivered today, and I'm assuming the delivery person must be here. So, all right. One thing to remind you quickly before we get going, bonus days are still going on, and you still have an opportunity to earn $5 off coupons that you can spend starting next week, Tuesday, on your holiday catalog or your mini catalog items. So it's an awesome deal. Anything you order $50 or greater now, you're going to start earning those bonus days coupons, and you can redeem them on any order that you might like starting August 4th, running through the 31st. So the details are posted on my blog. Let me know if you have any questions. And again, my blog is stampwithamyk.com. So if you are not a subscriber, feel free to hop out and subscribe, and you can follow along and get all the latest Stampin' Up! Information too. So hey, Jody, I'm glad you're here from Appleton, Wisconsin. Hopefully you're having a great day too. All right, let me pull out a few pieces here that I've done some pre-cutting. This is my card base, which is Cinnamon Cider, which is one of the new in colors, and I love it. And the piece of designer series paper that I picked, again, it's a very similar pattern, obviously. It's just a little different color scheme. So I think it's going to look pretty close to the same by the time we get done with it. This is more fall tones to me, and this one is maybe, I don't know, more summer or spring or kind of year-round. You can take your pick. So, all right, this one piece of designer series paper, again, is from the Plaid Tidings Designer Series paper. It's a 6x6 pack in the upcoming catalog, and I have it cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. And you love the colors are awesome this year. The new in colors are some of my favorites, and that whole Plaid Tidings pack is full of fantastic prints in all sorts of different color combinations. So things that I would have never put together, and they look awesome. All right, so we've got doing a little liquid glue here on the front of the card base, and I'm just going to adhere it down. And the liquid glue, I usually use it when I'm covering a full card front like this, just because it gives me a little opportunity to sort of wiggle things around before it's stuck down forever, to make sure that it's hopefully straight. The background is all done here on this. The next thing that I was going to show you is how I stamped the coffee cup image, because as you probably have noticed on the stamp set, the coffee cup image is a little short of the width of the card. So it's about 3 inches, I think is what it is. I started out with a piece of cardstock, and I realized that I forgot to pull out my paper trimmer, so I'm probably going to have to make another run away from the camera. Goodness, I'm not well organized today. All right, so we've got, you like the colors better, so it does look a little more like chocolate this way around, which is always a good thing. Hey, Alice, I'm glad you're here. All right, so I started with a piece of Whisper White cardstock, and I have it cut to 2 inches by about, I think this is about 4.5-ish. I don't know, it's maybe a little short of 4.5, but it's a little bit wider than what I need for the card front. And I'm going to use some Tuxedo Black Memento ink. When I lined this up, I slid the coffee cup image about as far over to the edge as I felt like I could go without it hitting anything, hitting the hinged edge over here. And it's about 5/8 of an inch up from the bottom. So I have got my Tuxedo Black Memento ink, and I'm just going to ink up this image. And again, I have my Whisper White cardstock tucked as far in the corner as I can get it. And you know what? I think I need to add a little bit more ink. I can see that little heart in the middle does not look like it got very well covered. All right, that looks better. So we are going to just stamp this down with the stamparatus and lift it back up. And then I'm actually going to, because this is hinged and you can remove the plate, you just lift it straight up. And I know it's going to come right at the screen. Lift it straight up and move it out. And then I'm going to move it over 3 hinge spaces. So that's basically 3 inches over from the edge, and put it back in and lay it open. And then I'll show you this, but I'm not going to close it all the way because I don't want to ink it yet. As you can see, this is there's a bit of a gap here between the two. This is not one of the images that was designed really to be used with the stamparatus, but it works really easily. So let me show you how I did it. So I took this and actually slid it over 1/2 inch and just lined it up here. Again, 1/2 inch from this edge, lined it up, slid it all the way against the bottom, re-inked my coffee cups, and then stamp them down on the Whisper White cardstock, and then lifted it up, and there you go. Now you've got your continuous line of coffee cups upside down, but they're still there. All right. So the reason that I cut this a little bit oversized is because, as you can see, there's kind of a little gap over here. So I wanted to be able to just trim this evenly with the edge of my card, which worked out really well. So let me set this out of the way. I just wanted to show you how that worked with the stamparatus, and I thought it worked pretty well, actually. Through the magic of television, I did a little coloring ahead of time, so you didn't have to sit and watch me color every single one of these cups because I knew that would take me quite a while, because I'm not particularly speedy at coloring, but and it would probably get a little boring. So the colors that I have pulled out of this piece of designer series paper are Cajun Craze and Cinnamon Cider are the 2 colors that I'm using. And I'm actually using the light of both of those blends rather than the dark, just because, I don't know, I felt like the dark was too dark for this. I wanted it to look a little bit lighter. So I am just coloring every other, whoops, did I do that wrong? Yep, every other. I started to color the wrong one. Every other one of the stripes here with the light Cajun Craze. And then I'm going to come back in and blend it here because I goofed up that one, but you won't be able to tell it in a second. And with light Cinnamon Cider, just coming in and coloring the other stripe, the opposite stripe. And then I'm going to do the kind of the sleeve on this one with light Cinnamon Cider. All right, and you can see I'm going out of the lines a little bit, and I'll show you in a second. There's a reason why I have my color lifter handy, because I tend to kind of get a little out of the line sometimes when I'm doing my coloring. For this cup, I'm doing light Cinnamon Cider for the background, and I didn't worry too much, oops, although I guess I did it the opposite way around, but it doesn't really matter. I didn't worry too much about trying to keep everything from not coloring over top of the little dots, just because I'm going to go in with the other color of blends and you won't be able to tell that I've colored over the dots. Plus, it takes a really long time to, if you really individually go around all those little dots, it'd take you forever. So we've got the stripes on this cup, and I'm going to color those in every other, again, with cinnamon cider. And while I'm doing the coloring, I'm going to remind you that I've got a designer series paper share that is going on right now. You can join in, and I'll be ordering the papers starting on the, or I'll be ordering the papers on the 4th, and I will be expediting the order, so I will be planning to get them chopped up and back out to you just as soon as possible. The details are posted out on my blog, which is stampwithamyk.com. So if you're interested, if you live in the U.S. and are interested in joining my paper share, you are very welcome to do that. And just let me know if you have any questions. So again, it's a sampling of all the designer series papers in the new catalog. And there are some returning favorites, and I've actually got options for those in my paper share as well. So let me know if you have questions, or if you're interested in joining, you can drop me an email with the share that you might be interested in. All right, so back to coloring. I'm using the light Cajun Craze and coming back in here, coloring in the opposites of whatever I haven't colored with the cinnamon cider. Coloring in the little heart. And then here, like I said, you can see that I kind of got a little wild with my coloring and went out of the lines. Our color lifter works fantastically for sort of just taking those colors and pushing them right back inside the lines. And I know I showed that on a video, maybe it was last week. I can't remember when I made a big mess, but it's really easy to do. You just take the color lifter and kind of tuck it back in where it's supposed to go, and all fixed. Nobody will be able to tell that you went crazy and went out of the lines. All right, let me, because I did not plan well, I do have to run away for 1 second to grab my paper trimmer. And the drawer is noisy. Goodness, one of these days I will be totally prepared for a video, but I can't seem to ever be. I don't know. And I can't even blame it on my kids being in school right now, because they're not. It's just me being not well organized. All right, so let me do a little bit of trimming here, and let me get that scoring out of the way. So I'm going to trim it down so that hopefully I didn't go too short. Nope, I think we're good. I just want to trim off because it looks like there's a little bit of an edge of the one coffee cup on here that doesn't look really awesome. So I'm just trimming that away and cutting this down to 4 1/4. And again, I started with a 2-inch piece to begin with, and it was about, like I said, looking at what I trimmed away, I think it was about 4 1/2 that I started with, and then just trimmed off the edges to make it look a little more even. And I have a piece of Cajun Craze cardstock that is cut to 2 1/8 by 4 1/4. And again, the details and the cardstock cuts will all be out on my blog tomorrow, so don't worry about having to write things down or keep track of it, because it'll all be posted out there. And sometimes I say the wrong measurements in the video, so always go with what's posted on the blog, because that is right. At least most of the time it's right. So, all right, so I'm just going to do a little bit of, adhere this over the top of the Cajun Craze cardstock piece, and then we are going to take that and add a little bit of Stampin' Seal to the back of that, and then we are going to adhere that to a piece of cinnamon cider cardstock. And the cinnamon cider is cut to 2 1/2, I believe. Let me double check it. Yep, 2 1/2 by 4 1/4. All right, next up, we're just going to take that, the layered piece, and adhere that to the card front. And I see that, is it Jan? Yep, Jan looks like she's joined in, and Barbara as well. Yeah, I'm glad that it is a cute stamp set, and I'm glad that you like it with the designer paper, because I feel like they kind of pair perfectly together. So I like the kind of fall look with this one, and like I said, the other one I feel like is a little more summery, a little different look, but again, same design, just a little different look on it. So I've adhered that. I didn't do any specific, like, I don't know, it looks like maybe about an inch up, about an inch up from the bottom, but I didn't measure that very precisely. So I just sort of eyeballed it and went with what I thought looked okay. We've got a little bit of linen thread here, and I'm going to wrap it around the card front twice and attempt to tie a bow on screen, which sometimes those go well and sometimes not as well as I'd hoped, but I'll be happy to wrestle with it and see what we get. for a bow, and usually they don't come out too badly in the end. Just sometimes I wrestle with them a little as I'm trying to get it in the spot that I want it to be and tied tightly and all that sort of thing. So I think we got the tightly part all right. Let's see if we can get the bow part to be in the right place. All right, there we go. Looks like it so far. I'm going to leave the tails for now until I get the sentiment stamp here, or sentiment added on, and kind of figure out placement of everything. So I have cinnamon cider ink and one of the stamps from the press on stamp set, and just going to do a quick inking here and stamping it on a piece of Whisper White cardstock. And then I'm going to take one of the stitched rectangle dies, which again I'm going to be using the one that's the more arrow rails, and it's the second smallest one of those, and just going to run it here through my die cutting machine. And again, I know I've said this probably too many times on video, but I did want to remind you that when you're sending through anything that's got a straight edge on it like this, a more solid edge, it's easier if you can tilt it just a little and run it through your die cutting machine so that when it hits the roller it doesn't bang up against that. They cut a lot nicer, and it's a lot easier to run through your machine if they're a little bit turned at an angle, so it kind of comes through at the point rather than the flat edge. So let me do that while you guys are hanging out chattering. Hopefully you all are enjoying your Friday. Like I said, it's been pretty quiet around here. Although I hear that there's a tropical storm that is brewing in down near Florida, and last I saw it looks like we may get some rain and stuff out of that. I don't know that we'll get the true tropical storm here, but it looks like we're going to get some weather out of that, which is always entertaining. All right, next up, we just got a couple of Stampin' Dimensionals, and I actually cut mine in half, which again, if you haven't watched one of my videos before, you may not know that, but if you have, you know that I do. So I cut mine in half. You could also use the mini dimensionals on here, and I actually put them down on the Whisper White cardstock on the card front rather than on the back of my die cut sentiment, just because I wanted them to be down and out of the way of the linen thread. And if I put them on the back of the sentiment, there's always the risk that I might put them in the wrong place and then end up with them having a kind of a strange lump when you're trying to get your sentiment adhered on. So that is the reason why I put them down on the card front rather than on the back of the sentiment. But if you're good at placing and looking at it and figuring it out by looking, you can certainly put it on the back of your sentiment. I just kind of struggle with that sometimes and end up with them in just the wrong place. All right, the last thing on the card front that I've got is one of the 2020 to 2022 in color enamel dots, and I'm just going to add one of the cinnamon cider dots here next to the sentiment, and we will be all done with the card front. So that's it. Pretty quick and easy. And again, I think it's kind of fun. I like the fall colors on this one. On the inside of the card, I kept it pretty simple as well. This is Whisper White cardstock cut to 4 by 5 1/4, and then I just kept the little piece because this is a 6-inch wide piece of paper, and this I needed a 5 1/2 to cover the card front. This is just the little 1/2 inch by 4 1/4 inch strip that is left over when I trimmed it down. And whoop, one of these days I'll get it adhered on here straight. Maybe not. Oh, I think I got it. Looking at it, I think I got it on there straight. And then I just used that little extra quarter to kind of help me line things up, although that time it didn't work as well. And then trim it away. And then I'm going to use a little Stampin' Seal to adhere this to the inside of the card base, and we will be all done for today. Hey Teresa, I'm glad that you're here. Sorry, I just noticed that you hopped in, so hopefully I didn't say hello earlier. I don't think I did. All right, so that is it for the inside of the card. Just kept it simple and used the same pattern of designer paper that I'd used on the card front, and that is all that we've got. I'm going to pull this a little. I think I want the bow just a little bit smaller. All right. I think that looks a little better. So there we go. Those are the two cards. This is my sample card that I made up ahead of time with a little more summery colors. And then here's my card for fall. We're going to call it the, I don't know, the pumpkin spice latte card. So hopefully you enjoyed the projects, and hopefully you'll get the stamp set, because like I said, it's really cute for anybody who's got coffee lovers in their family or who themselves loves coffee. So it's a great little set, really easy to use, fun to color. And again, you can make it, you know, that pack of of plaid paper has got tons of different designs and color options in it, so you could make it for anything. Just kind of pick out a couple of the colors in it and color away, and you're set and good to go. All right, well, thanks again for joining today. I appreciate that you guys were here and hope that you enjoy your weekend. Have a good rest of your Friday. I will plan to be back on Facebook Live on Tuesday around 2 o'clock Eastern Time, and then back here on YouTube Live again on Friday at 2 o'clock Eastern Time next week. And again, you can always subscribe to my blog to make sure you're kept up to date with the most current everything that's happening with Stampin' Up. And don't forget, Tuesday, the new mini catalog goes live for ordering. So let me know if you have any questions about that. I appreciate y'all being here. Have a fantastic weekend.